I'm Pete White, and I'm locked in.
I'm Stephen Mowry, and I'm locked in.
I'm Jordan Griffin, and I'm locked in.
Hey, everybody, this is Island Fight CEO Dean Toole, and I am locked in.
I'm Michael Davis, and I'm locked in.
This is John Fitch, and I am locked in.
And we are locked in. Max Van Auken and Dave the Wave. How you doing?
Cuzzo, I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing phenomenal. The Locked In podcast, available on any podcast platform. I won't say it too much, but it's iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Download and subscribe. We're making big moves.
Big moves, but buddy, you were in New York City, my favorite town, the most famous arena in the world, Madison Square Garden. You and I haven't been in the studio together, so before I hear about this amazing New York trip, I got quick fire questions for you.
Boom.
Quick fire. Are you ready?
Ready.
Folks, are you ready?
Yes.
That was everyone else. All right. If Drew Brees had to give your best man speech, would you pick Drew Brees or everyone else in the world? 8.6 billion people. So you have the field or Drew Brees? Who do you pick?
Drew Brees.
Okay. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you Carson Wentz or Nick Foles?
Carson Wentz.
Who is the NBA Rookie of the Year?
Luka Doncic.
Are you on my side? Are you ready to admit James Harden's the MVP of the NBA?
No.
Okay, last one. What team does Antonio Brown play for next season?
He expressed interest for playing for the 49ers.
Yes.
I don't know why he would do that, but I think he leaves. It's either the Jets or the 49ers. I'm going to lean towards the 49ers because they're probably going to want him.
All right, that was quick fire. That was from N Still Nutrition. I'm telling you, you have to get it. It's so hot right now that they pushed back the date of when the merchandise is dropping. It's going to be insane, Max. I'm telling you, everyone's getting involved. Our main man, Anderson Hutchinson's involved. I can't wait. N Still Nutrition.
Make sure you check it out, guys. Also, Fit Meals for the best nutrition if you're competing on an MMA level, basketball level, football level, you name it. MyFitMeals.com. If you're an average person and you just want a quick meal that's nutritious and healthy, MyFitMeals.com. But back to the trip. I saw Spider-Man fling through a couple buildings.
Like, really, Spider-Man?
No. That'd be pretty cool.
That would have been awesome.
But I did see some construction workers up high, and I'm like, wow, I couldn't imagine being that guy. I could not imagine being on a skyscraper.
How much would someone have to pay you for you to do that on the daily?
Just to shake LeBron's hand.
Okay, deal.
But really, though, it was really incredible. And isn't it? That's how powerful Marvel movies are to me now. It's like when I'm walking through the city, I'm like, that was so cool. Spider-Man was swinging through these buildings. And I remember the Stark Towers right there. So I'm thinking about the movies more than I am actual real life.
It's like Hawkeye's on the top of those buildings shooting those arrows at somebody.
That's aliens going by.
Gosh,
but
awesome movie.
Another thing is I saw your favorite team, the Knicks, play in MSG, Madison Square Garden. That was iconic. And saw Ben Simmons play.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see my future Knick picture that I put out on Instagram?
Kevin Durant and Zion?
Kyrie Irving.
Oh.
Kevin Knox. Kristaps Porzingis. And I'm, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's a dream. Could happen. It's legitimate, right?
Yeah, I think he may go towards Brooklyn, though, Kyrie. If I were Kyrie, I would go to the Knicks before Brooklyn, but
maybe not. If they get the first pick, Zion, and then Durant goes, I don't want to stay there in Golden State, so he jumps ship, those four. And then I think if those four do go there, I do think Kyrie goes, just because it's like...
Or does he want to be the man?
True. But with those four, you can have Trey Burke as your point guard or Emmanuel Mudiay and be just fine.
Yeah.
Am I right?
like Emmanuel Mudiay. He's pretty good.
He's nice. Okay, back to Ben Simmons.
I was telling our cousin Robert, and it was amazing. He was so nice to us. But we were sitting there, and I was telling Olivia, she's like, okay, who should I look out for? She knows Embiid because Embiid's just crazy on social media. Everyone knows him. But I'm like, just watch Ben Simmons. And I told cousin Robert about our theory about he's probably the next best player. And you could say Giannis, whatever the case may be, but he's up there. And he's like, okay. So that game, Ben Simmons drops a 21 point, 22 rebound, 9 assist game. And he's like, he's a point guard? And I'm like, yep, he's a point guard. And he's like, he can't shoot. And I'm like, nope. But he still dropped 20, and a 9 game.
That Habib comment, too. He's also the biggest human being in the NBA. He's humongous.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He made NBA, and of course, seeing him on TV, you could see how big he is. But in person, huge. Moving NBA players around, huge. Could not stop him in the paint, huge. And the fact that he extended a 3-point shot and like he can handle a little bit, and he could spin, and he's mobile, and he was playing great defense. So he's the best center in the league, in my opinion. But it was absolutely awesome.
Wow. Okay, can I talk about you for a second?
Of course, Dave.
Okay. This man to the left of me, if you're listening in your car right now,
He's
that
probably
makes
like, what?
perfect sense. If the Chicago Bears, who were the better team,
Yes.
at home,
Yes.
favored,
Yes.
and if the coach for the Eagles do not call a timeout, they make a field goal, you would be 8-0 for your playoff picks.
Yes.
If this isn't one of the
I was so
most
upset.
locked-in moments in the history of the Locked In Sports podcast, I don't know what is.
I was so upset. And I was
Right?
watching it with Olivia. Well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I was like, yep, he's going to make this field goal, and the Bears win on 4 for 4. She's like, okay. And she's like, he should make the field goal. I'm like, yeah, he should make the field goal. So we're watching it. I'm like, all right, he's going to make it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, that's
Boing.
the one thing
Boing.
I lose on. But yeah, it's just, I'm not doing anything differently. It's just kind of just getting locked in. You've had your locked in picks throughout the season that were just right on them money. The 1 week we only got like one game wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm looking at the teams and
You're
just
hot.
yeah,
You're
I'm
hot.
hot. I'm hot right now. But this round, I have a feeling it may be my worst round because it's gotten to the 4 best teams in the NFL. I guess we'll get into it. The 4 best coaches, the
Yes.
4 best well,
Yes.
you could say Jared Goff maybe, but the 4 best teams, the elite quarterbacks, and I could see the Rams beating the Saints. I could see the Saints beating the Rams. I could see Tom Brady with this Arctic, what do you call it? Blast.
Arctic
Throwing off
blast.
Patrick Mahomes off, but then I could see Patrick Mahomes showing why he's the MVP and winning. So this one, I could really see all 4 teams winning. So I'm not going to give my picks yet, but it's the hardest one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm excited. The first thing I took, the games were over, and it was like, wow, the Final Four, AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, and I was like, wow, any Super Bowl combination I love.
Yeah.
That game on Monday Night Football, Week 8, Week 9, Week 10, the Chiefs for the Rams was one of the funnest times I've ever watched football on TV. It was just incredible, exfoliating. How do you say that?
Exhilarating?
Yeah, that word. There you go. So you got that one. I'm rooting for the Saints. That's who I want to win the whole championship.
Because they were winning your Super Bowls.
Yeah, I picked them before the season. I think the Saints will win the whole dang thing. So the Saints versus the Chiefs, that's awesome. MVP candidates, Mahomes versus Breeze. Tom Brady and
Versus
the
Drew Brees.
Patriots versus the Saints. That's like the iconic AFC team. Breeze won one with Sean Payton. That would just be...
Belichick, Peyton.
You can argue the greatest quarterback ever, and if Breeze can win a second, that can elevate him to a top 5 greatest quarterback ever. So probably the best quarterback matchup maybe ever.
Yeah.
And then you also have then the opposite way, Rams versus Patriots. Maybe the one that people aren't talking about the most because they're the 2 underdogs right now, the 2 seeds. That's just, to me, it's like old school versus new school. The old grumpy emperor coach in Belichick to the new, sly, good-looking, cheekbone Han Solo, Sean McVay.
Yep.
I would love it. It would be awesome.
Yeah, I would. My preferred matchup would be to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl and for him to play Drew Brees. Like,
Me
I
too.
would love that.
Me
Just
too.
to see what you just said. And then just how much is on the line. Like, if Tom Brady were to win a 6th championship in the NFL, and this is the season where we're like, okay, this Patriots team is not the Patriots team of old. Gronk's not the same. The Cook situation, Edelman's So it's like, for him to win it this year, and people are saying he's shown signs of his age, that would be his best championship.
All these teams, there's 4 teams left. The guru, Ryan, was over the house watching the games, and we're like the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill is a absolute stud wide receiver. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the world. Gronk is not anymore. He's done. He
Yep.
will retire in 9 days. He's done. They have so much talent. Defense, they got talent. The Rams, Aaron Donald could win the MVP as the defensive player. Todd Gurley, the best running back in the world. There's players to lead, right? I don't have to keep on
You name
going.
it.
The Saints, Michael Thomas, people are arguing is the best wide receiver in the world. They got Lattimore, one of the best young corners. They're stacked all the way around too. Alvin Kamara. I was like, Ryan, who's the 2nd and 3rd best player for the Patriots? Like I'm like, these are all pros on the other team. They're studs. We're not naming Mahomes, Breeze, and Goff. We're just naming the other players.
Who would it be?
It's Stephon Gilmore,
Yeah.
who's a cornerback who was on a Buffalo Bill. His first year in New England wasn't good. He had a good year this year. He's a good player. He's a good cornerback.
Do you still put Gronk in there?
No, He was bad this year, Max.
He was.
It's like,
But he did,
Draymond Green. It's what he's just not who he once was.
But will he show up in that big moment?
Oh, he hasn't. The first round, he wasn't good.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he will necessarily, but Tom Brady has to feel like, yeah, he's probably not the second best player on their team or the third best player on their team, but I guarantee you Tom Brady goes into that game like, okay, I've been to war with Gronk. I know who he is, though.
No, I totally agree. My main point was if New England can do it this year, and you think that Brady can't get elevated anymore, this is just it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye Michael Jordan, bye-bye Muhammad Ali, bye-bye Babe Ruth. Tom Brady goes down as the greatest athlete ever in the history of team sports.
Probably the greatest dynasty. Is that your theory?
No, I got a better one.
Okay, but I was saying, because that's a really good one, because I'm right on the money with you. If he wins with this type of team in his sixth championship in NFL, and winning championships in the NFL is harder, because it's not just about having the best players.
How many does Dan Marino have?
How many? 0.
How many does Brett Favre have?
1.
How many
does Rodgers have?
1. It's all these are, and they're all-time greats. Drew
Brees,
Brees,
1.
1. Tom Brady would have 6.
6.
Wait. 6.
And who has the 4 for 4? Doesn't somebody have the 4 for 4?
Terry Bradshaw.
But no, who's the all-time great that they always say, well, he didn't lose in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I don't think Bradshaw. Well, Troy Aikman didn't lose in the Super Bowl. Terry Bradshaw, I don't think lost in the Super Bowl for the Steelers.
Coming to my head. Hold on. It's going to come.
Joe Montana.
Yes.
Joe Montana.
Okay, I'm missing somebody. I don't know.
yeah.
Yes, Joe Montana.
Yeah. No, he's the second greatest of all time. But just
You can't even
Tom
use that
Brady
argument
would
anymore.
make 9 Super Bowls.
That's greater than 4 for 4.
That's insane. So that's our football
With
talk.
Grumpy Belichick.
I can't wait. Yeah, we're not going to go all in. We're not going to give out our picks yet.
Yes.
Because we'll do that Friday or Saturday.
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes. Let me hear your theory.
Okay, you ready?
I am ready.
It's not even a theory. It's a question / Oh, okay, I'm excited.
And by the way, I take back that Drew Brees. I probably wouldn't want him over everybody else. Your first question, I answered that one wrong.
So you would want like Thor to give your best man speech?
I prefer you to give me my best man speech, Dave.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, on this...
Go to the sponsors. Go to the sponsors.
myfitmeals.com. Anyway, Magna Loops.
Yeah, Magna Loops are really good. Check them out on Facebook.
Yes.
I use it every day. It's one of those things. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Max, here's $1 million.
Okay.
You have to buy a stock.
Mm-hmm.
And, with stocks, you put in money, but you don't want it right away.
Yeah.
You want to use this stock let it build. So when your kids are going to go to college in 2039, you got money for them.
Yep.
Makes sense. You with me?
Yep.
$1 million. There's 2 stocks out there, Max. You can only put it into one.
Okay.
The first door blue, Zion Williamson. Ooh. One of the greatest college basketball players of all time. Franchise stud, dunker, unbelievable, will change the face of whatever team he goes to.
Mm-hmm.
Door number 2, orange, Trevor Lawrence.
That's tough.
The quarterback. Tough. Sunshine, freshman. First 15-0 team since 1896. It's a quarterback world. Mm-hmm. It's a football world we live in right now. $1 million, Max. Zion Williamson, Trevor Lawrence.
They're saying Lawrence could be the next great, and I'm on board with that. Like
Luck, John Elway.
Yeah, Lawrence is going to be there. So I am not by any means lowballing Lawrence. Like he will be an all-time great. I would go with Zion because of this. The leagues are different. I think where you get drafted is a big part in the NFL. Even with the quarterback type of league, if you're not drafted in the right situation, that could really hurt you. Even in the offensive-minded league, even as an all-time great, if you're not in the right situation, that may not be the best for you. And even though I think he will succeed, he will be a great quarterback in this league, an all-timer. I think Zion will be drafted in a better situation, or with the player mobility in the NBA and the way it is, he can always go to a better situation. And there's always a team that needs the biggest, most athletic guy on the court who can jump over everybody and dunk it. So that being said, I would put it in Zion just because the way the leagues are formed.
Okay. And it's not the easy pick. I don't want to say it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think James Harden,
Yep.
MVP, maybe going to be a 2-time MVP, great player, third best scoring guard, fourth best scoring guard ever, Hall of Famer, all this, right? Unbelievable. If Zion is as good as James Harden, that's like, wow, right? You with me?
Yep.
Still doesn't win a championship. Like, it's great and all. I just feel like we just went through the list. If you are usually the best quarterback in the world for year 3, 5, 7 years that we think maybe Trevor is, you win Super Bowls, you win championship or championships.
Yeah.
I just think that it's easier, and I get what you're saying about where he goes, but
say where's he projected to go? If let's just say he were to, because I know he's not entering it this year.
Yeah, he's got 2 more years because you have to wait 3 years. My point is the Colts weren't anything. Peyton Manning turned them into something. New England was awful. Tom Brady turned them into something.
Yep.
The Packers, awesome with Favre, bad. Awesome with Rodgers, bad. Like, the Saints were awful. Drew Brees turned them into good. So I don't think, I think a quarterback can go anywhere and turn them into a championship team. In basketball is more, you need to go to Miami, New York, LA.
Yeah.
So I kind of disagree with your first, like, depends where he goes. Not really. Jimmy Garoppolo can go to the Niners and they can be a championship contender team next year.
Yeah, and I get that, but it has a lot to do with the ownership as well, though, because quarterbacks, although they can move, don't move as often as NBA players do. So granted, where you are getting drafted from is typically where you're going to be for the majority of your career. So let's take the Browns, for example. Of course, that's the worst possible situation you could go to, even with this better roster, right? Because I don't trust their management. As good as this roster is, like we just said, Freddie Kitchens, really? So you're always going to be dealt with those type of obstacles. If Sam Darnold went to the Browns, they'd be really good, but he'd have to deal with that upclimb battle his whole career. So it's stuff like that. And of course, like you said, all those are good examples, but the Saints is a well-run organization. It wasn't in the past, obviously. But with the right coach and quarterback, it is.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it just depends on the situation, but I'm not saying he won't ever be a Super Bowl champion. Like, he most likely will be.
Sure, yeah, and I'm not... You didn't discount one stock or the other, but it's weird. I think if I had to, I think I put in Trevor Lawrence.
And that's probably the smart decision.
I just think the world we live in now, it's NFL... It's quarterback. It's just so big. When Patrick Mahomes, he's legit. He's the MVP. He's turned it up for KC. Like, Kansas City is a big deal now. Like, the AFC Championship game against Brady. There's great players in the NBA. Who's the Giannis? Amazing. If Zion becomes Giannis, it's amazing. Are the Bucks going to win the championship this year? No. Like, it's just like... Zion could be everything we think he is.
Still may not win a championship.
Yeah, still doesn't have a shot.
Well, 2 things. One, also, I've taken what can hurt your stock. Injuries can hurt your stock, and you're more prone to get injured in the NFL than you are in the NBA. Like, I would say major injuries, not like the little tweaks there. Have you noticed that? Because it's an offensive-minded league, and they protect the quarterback more.
Yeah, I was going to say
but depending on where you go with the offensive line, that could really hurt you. Look at Andrew Luck. He's not technically injury-prone, but with a bad offensive line, keep getting pounded, you will be. Deshaun Watson, you will be if you have a bad offensive line, no matter how mobile you are. So I think even with the rules protecting them, you're going to get hit harder than you are in the NBA. So I would go with the more protective stock, who is big and athletic, and he's strong. So with that being said, I'm also taking where he's getting drafted into. And this is a great theory, by the way, because...
Thank you.
Let's just say he gets drafted to your Knicks. I'm not a big fan of James Dolan at all, but he has Porzingis. He has Knox. He may get a Kyrie. He may get a Kevin Durant. So I'm also taking that into consideration as well, because he's not just going to Cleveland. He's probably going to go to a New York, or he may go to Atlanta with a Trae Young. So I think he's going to be in a good situation.
Cleveland would be death.
Yeah, that would just be like...
that would be death, right?
We don't need to see that again. We just need to see him with Trae Young, and like Yoda thinks, Trae Young could be an all-star.
And they have Collins, a big power forward / center, and they're in the Southeast Division, which Charlotte, Miami, Orlando, they're bad. So Atlanta would take that over.
So yeah, you got to think about where... And even if let's just say for some reason he went to the Knicks.
No. Not some reason. He will speak it into existence.
Okay, let's just say he goes to your Knicks.
Yes.
That's a great situation with him and Porzingis and Knox, and the mecca of all basketball. So those 2 situations alone, I love where he goes.
Another sponsor plug. I got to take a second. Sponsor plug it.
Okay, so we have magnaloops.com. Magnaloops.com. Check it out, guys. It's the most useful tool that I can't really explain as well as if you just bought it. So make sure you check it out. Magnaloops.com. It can hook up plug wires. It can hook up Dorito chips. It is the most useful thing once you have it. That's the best way I describe it.
Yeah, I agree. I concur.
Also Locked In. Download, subscribe. All podcast platforms. Locked In with 2 N's.
February 9th, Clash of the Titans 3. Get your tickets at ticketriver.com. Or also go to the major gyms in the Orlando, Central Florida area to get your tickets. It's at Orlando Live Event Center. February 9th, Clash of the Titans 3, Combat Night, Undisputed meets. They make a baby, and they create Clash of the Titans.
But do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So where Zion goes are 2 great situations.
I see what you're spitting. I'm keeping it 100 over here.
All right, so can I move on to one thing here?
Yes. So you like that. You like that. You like the Zion, Trevor?
Those are the 2 top athletes in college.
Oh, it's maybe in the last decade. Maybe in the last decade.
Deshaun Watson.
No, Trevor's
Ben
better.
Simmons. Ben Simmons, we think is going to be maybe the next best player in the NBA, so that's pretty high.
It is, but even Ben didn't make the tournament.
Yeah.
LSU was kind of murky.
Mm-hmm.
Zion's on the number 1 Duke Blue Devil team. They're going to win the national championship. Like, he's special. It could. There's good questions. Of course, in the last decade, you're going to throw out great names, Heisman trophies, all that. I agree. But Zion and Trevor, keep your eye on that.
Oh, I love them.
Okay.
Okay, so James Harden, we've already had this conversation, but you brought it up in your questionnaire.
Yes.
So he's like averaging 34 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, just stats galore. And he's not only just putting up stats, he's winning.
He's winning.
Yeah.
Single-handedly, Max.
Yes.
Clint Capella's hurt now. Chris Paul's still hurt.
Yes. And here's why LeBron's still my MVP.
Oh, my gosh.
LeBron James hasn't played. It's kind of like back to your Steph Curry thing. When he didn't play, you don't think the Warriors are an all-timer. You think they're a good team, not an all-timer. LeBron James, when he was playing, was the 4th seed in the West. The 4th seed in the West, and it was going up. They were on a good streak. He gets injured, a rare injury that we really don't see, and he's probably just sitting out to make sure it's healed up. There's no reason to rush back, right? And now they're the 9th seed. 4th to 9th. And that's back to my point. Wherever he goes, he makes that team. And you could say, well, he's the coach and he's this. Say what you want. He's won a championship that way. Everywhere he goes, he wins. And when he doesn't play, the team is completely awful. And to say the 9th, I'm not saying, they fell to the 7th seed. They fell to the 6th seed, the 9th seed. If the playoffs started today, they're not the 4th seed. They're not in the playoffs. That's why LeBron's my MVP.
I agree. He's the king, Max.
Yes.
The greatest player of our lifetime.
The GOAT.
And it's the same thing. I'm going to use the Zion to Trevor thing. You were going to put your money into Zion. You weren't discounting Trevor.
Yes.
I'm not discounting LeBron. Unbelievable. There's nothing wrong with me saying he's the 2nd most valuable player in the whole entire world this season for the NBA. That's amazing. I wish I could be it. Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard would strive for that. Porzingis would love it. But what James Harden's doing this year for Houston is special. It's Kobe Bryant-like. It's Michael Jordan-like. The injuries with Chris Paul, Gordon, and Capella. And for him to be in the 4th seed in the West and ascendant, he's on the way up. Houston, OKC's there. Golden State's fluffy. Do you believe in Denver?
No.
Okay, there you go. I agree. They're okay. They're a good team. They're going to make the playoffs. Remember, I was last year on Denver. They were like my surprise team, and they lost to Minnesota in game 82. I like Denver, but not above Houston.
No.
And not above the MVP, James Harden. Like, what he's doing is just, it's historic. It's that once in a lifetime. It's once in a year. This is his best NBA season ever.
Yes, and I agree, 100% agree. James Harden will get the MVP award. He's just not my MVP. But I'm okay if he gets it. I really am. Like, there's some years, come on, guys. James Harden's not more valuable than LeBron James. But this year, he has more credentials than he has in the past. He's on a historic run.
So it's like that, a lot of people think Mila Kunis is like super hot. Like, that's my, crush. But just not your crush.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense now.
All right. And it all makes sense, just like the Locked In podcast does. Locked In with 2 N's. Dave, do you have a locked in?
I do.
All right.
TJ Dillashaw wins the main.
Dang it. That was my locked in.
Are you serious? We always do off script.
The one time we don't tell each other.
ESPN UFC 1.
Yes.
First time ever on ESPN, Brooklyn, New York, main event.
Yes.
The champ, TJ Dillashaw, Killashaw, goes down to flyweight, demolishes Henry Cejudo, demolishes the flyweight industry, no more ever again, becomes the champ, and becomes one of the greatest UFC fighters ever.
That was my locked in to a T. To a T. I said there's the 3 most underrated fighters in the UFC. Max Holloway, Tony Ferguson, and TJ Dillashaw. And TJ Dillashaw will eliminate this division, like you said, and it will put him on the map.
That could be the 3 best fighters in the UFC.
I'm telling you, no one wants to fight Max Holloway. No one wants to fight them.
How about the co-main event? Greg Hardy, does he win? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Bryce Harper or Manny Machado, who would you give more money to? Gosh, I'm locked in tonight, Max. I'm ready.
You got me with these off-script questions.
Yep.
You're more of a baseball guy than I am. You okay over there?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm like doing jumping jacks. You want me to give you the answer?
Manny.
Bryce Harper. He's got an it factor about him. It's a home run driven league now. It's like a 3-point shooting league in the NBA.
He gets more tickets.
Yeah, more tickets, more home runs. And to me, he's a, I don't want to say a better athlete. He just plays a spot in the outfield. He can even play first base. He's going to stay healthier longer, I think. And my last little thing is, I'm afraid, like it's the Antonio Brown syndrome when you give a lot of money to a guy who's a little head casey.
Yes.
Manny Machado, I don't want to give a lot of money to. I don't trust him. Bryce Harper is Bryce Harper. Fun, extravagant, great hair like
Bryce.
me. Yeah, he's Bryce. I give him money. He's going to be Bryce tomorrow.
Last thing, I started the show off with New York. I'll end it with New York.
Okay.
When I spoke to cousin Robert, you know he's a big baseball guy.
Oh, yeah. Yankees.
I told Robert, we were talking about baseball, and we went back to the episode where if you could change one thing, what would it be? And it was me limiting the baseball season. And he kind of broke it down to what he would want. But long story short, he showed me this book about fantasy baseball. And he read it, and he won 2 years in a row easily. And it's a formula on how to win. And I'm going to have to read that book now, so...
You probably didn't know this about me. This is before the podcast. Some of the listeners will know this. I won fantasy baseball 7 years in a row.
It's pretty cool.
True story. I literally paid car payments on it.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stories. Uncle Robert, there's some things I found out about Uncle Robert. That's for off-air conversations.
Didn't we win wars? You told me this off-air.
Like McGregor went over and he knows the McGregor history. The Van Auckens have a history, and we don't come just to take part. We come to take over. We took over towns.
Gosh,
it's
like we're taking over the podcast game.
Exactly.
The Van Auckens get in. Joe Rogan, watch your back. Colin Cowherd, watch your back. The Van Auckens, we ain't here to take part.
We're here to get locked in and take over.
All right, cuzzo. Like once, like always,
stay locked in.